seconds remaining.
Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Fallout Gaming Major All-Stars
Reserve
Tournament.
time.
And we have made it all the way to the last game of today. And man, what a day of Dota. For a semifinal action, you couldn't have asked for anything more. We saw a long and enduring complexity match take on Fire, and it went all three games. We even had fucking Mad drop out at one point, but Fire still managed to make their way back into the victory land and into the finals. And now we got a game number 3 here for Leviathan taking on eHug. Leviathan had a big comeback there in the last game, pretty much executing good game sense and good gameplay from top to bottom. And now we got to find out which of these two teams is going to be moving on to face Team Fire in the finals. And then that winner goes into the one qualifying spot into the Malaysian LAN and get a piece of that 100K prize pool. Bringing you the coverage, the English coverage is Beyond the Summit and myself, KotLGuy, and I'm going to be joined again by Mr. David Blaze Casting. My friend, welcome back. We've made it. It's Game 3 hype, and eHug have once again gone for the axe to lead things off. Let's see what kind of playstyle we're going to see here from both teams. We've seen a little bit of everything, Blaze. We've seen game number 1, the slowest methodical game start with only like, what, 3 kills or something it felt like for the first 20 minutes. And then last game, it was, well, very action-packed with a Skywrath Mage, which Leviathan clearly are favoring and going for once more.
Indeed, and I'm really excited to see just how this one turns out and who is going to be coming up the better side. I mean, you didn't brand brew, so the joke's on you, according to Shibby, but we'll have to see if they can do as much work as they did in the previous game. Brewmaster got a couple of really good jumps there, got a really early blink dagger timing, was able to make some great use of it, but we also saw some real potential from MJW. He went for an aggressive stance on the off lane, was able to get up some pretty good momentum, although it wasn't as fast as your safe lane Brewmaster's Blink Dagger. It was still pretty well on point, and I definitely have some high expectations for both sides in terms of just raw initiation and hopefully being able to survive through a lot of the damage sources. Again, the Skywrath comes out as well. This is kind of coupled with the Brewmaster so that you can't pick it against him. He always gets a split off, and that's all well and good. But it also will be nice if you can kind of lock somebody down in particular. And man, Nusham playing on this Skywrath Mage should be able to do a lot of work. Obviously, we saw what it could accomplish in his hands previously.
Yeah, and if they want, they can kind of do a little bit of the same they did previously. I mean, we still got an Earthshaker up for grabs if you want to go down that road, or a Sand King if you'd like to do that long-range stun kind of a game. But we'll have to see what the tempo is going to be. eHug, we kind of question how much of an impact the last 5th Abaddon pick really was, so maybe something they kind of try to go back to the drawing board with and see how they want to play as far as defensive or offensive play style. Maybe this time Yawar might be able to get his hands on the precious Morphling. We'll have to see, because there's going to be no sniper, so the urge to get someone like a PA to close the gap isn't as necessary here. And I'm curious to see as well what they're going to prioritize for Shredder in this game. He doesn't get his precious Troll or his precious Sniper. Other options he used to go for, you know, really included like a Wraith King, a core Wraith King, but I haven't seen that in a real long time. Doesn't really seem to suit the meta a whole lot, so I'm curious to see where Leviathan are going to be taking it from here.
Yeah, a melee core does seem kind of reasonable, though, as they ban both the Viper and the Drow. They don't want to be kited, so whatever core carry they pick up, they don't want to be controlled in terms of positioning. So they want to be able to go where they please, they want to fight without much limitation, and the Frost Arrows, the Viper Strike, the Poison Attack, those are the kinds of things that really limit melee cores in particular. So with the Troll and Jug banned out, I'm not sure if we would really say that there are any like top tier melee cores. I mean, obviously there's the Void, but he has his own ways of getting about the battlefield, and yeah, I'm not too sure exactly what to expect, but we'll see. Most likely with the 4th pick here, as you mentioned last time, they don't wait too long to give Shredder what he needs, and in the meantime, Team eHug, they're drafting up. They know the laning phase they're going to be up against is pretty much the exact same. The Brewmaster, the Skywrath, the Earthshaker, these were bread and butter for Leviathan in the previous game, and eHug have to find the best way to maneuver around it, as well as find Yawar's pick. You mentioned the Morphling was available last time. They prioritized the PA, and we'll see if they consider that a mistake.
Yeah, I believe they picked it up 3rd pick too, so it could be something we see right here where they want to go immediately for that Morphling, or maybe prioritize getting Infinity's hero. He had played a couple of Puck games in the past. Having that silence certainly could help against someone like the Brew, and the lockdown could be favorable, but Then again, I don't know if it will really suit them too well. They already have some decent initiation with an axe on the team plus the swap, but yeah, you know what? I guess I'm wrong, Blaze. They're going to go for the puck regardless. Say, puck off. We're getting puck anyways. So there's the infinity puck. And, well, Leviathan will see this now, and this is typically where they like to go for, well, Shredder's grab. So we'll see what kind of suits it now that you got someone like a puck on your case who's able to get right in your grill. Maybe someone who could favor dealing with, you know, close-ranged action.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, you don't want to draft too much melee against the axe.
10
You're already
seconds
bringing the
remaining.
Earthshaker, the Bruin, but I mean, I can still see it working in that sense. I mean, there's plenty
5
of
seconds
crazy
remaining.
good options in the pool. We've seen a lot of bristleback. I don't find that to be the best option here, but
Reserve time.
I mean, I don't know. They could bring in heroes like Lycan are very strong in their own right. Of course, you could bring in something like a Meepo if you have the skill for it. Sven used to be really prominent. I'm trying to think of the other melee cores, but most of them have fallen off pretty heavily. So just a bit of a wild card pick, perhaps. But Puck is a good hero for controlling in general. Maneuver with the Waning Rift for silences, with the Dream Coil for positioning control. This is where they could follow up with like an Ancient Apparition and make a really good team fight lineup. Venge, Puck, AA, Axe, one good carry for Yawar, and you have a beastly team to work with.
Certainly so. Sweating and thinking out this Leviathan pick. Usually reserving. This is Shredder's pick typically. Okay. Maybe it could
Radiant
be
team
still
pick.
a Shredder pick. Or I know Shibby's played both Razor and Brew in his past, so this could also be a bit of a dumbfounding moment for eHug as well. Seeing this, they're not quite sure who's going to be mid, who's going to be going to the safe lane. Knowing that Puck could have the upper hand against going someone like Brew, Razor could prove to be different, and Razor obviously works pretty nicely against this kind of a lineup, and very good against someone like Axe. So it's a great
10
grab.
seconds
Jenkins going to be the fifth
remaining.
and final grab, maybe trying to etch in a sneaky Brood pick.
5
Then again, they
seconds
still get that
remaining.
first pick Axe on eHug, so we'll see. If they want more of the same, Doom was the option in the last game, but it's been banned out this way from eHug.
Dire
So there's only
team
so many
battle.
options left. Blaze, I want the Pudge. Why do we not see the Jenkins Pudge anymore? This guy is known. He goes on the Reddit, puts up tutorials. He's teaching people how to play it, but we don't get to see it in the hands of the guy who's led the way. This is a bit
Radiant
absurd,
team
and I don't think it's
banned.
a better time now to do it. But we'll see if that's going to be the case. Final banning phases come out. Leviathan are going to be removing the AM, and eHug had already taken care of the Phoenix here. I'm curious what other offlane grab they could
10
remove here
seconds
that
remaining.
Jenkins notoriously goes for.
Yeah, it's a
5
hard
seconds remaining.
decision to make here. As a Centaur is already pretty well locked down by Axe and Puck. They don't have to worry
Reserve
about that
time.
nearly as much. Other offliners like the Tide are difficult to control, but if you just get a good spell steal off, you can at least
Dire
counteract
team
what he
pick.
brings to the earlier fights. So I'm not exactly sure if what Leviathan are looking to bring here. There's a lot of generic hero pickups that could work well. And I don't know. It really depends if they want to commit anything to the offlane. Like Leviathan so far have been running their tri lanes almost entirely on that safe lane. They've not been doing like a 2-1-2 play or anything
Yeah.
like that. So you're not as often going to see like an Undying picked up
10
where you can go for a
seconds
duo that
remaining.
can sap away from the survivability of your opposition. But I don't
5
know. Right now,
seconds
eHug, they have a
remaining.
pretty good overall lineup to deal with what could be brought. I mean, you have the potential
Reserve
to
time.
steal the Brewmaster Split, the Earthshaker Fisher. Those are probably the two best spells to steal, and a couple other options wouldn't be too bad. Plasma Field is certainly a nice one to grab up. But yeah, we'll have to see. eHug have the initiation. They have their overall structure for Yawar to kind of run away with most likely a
10
Morphling,
seconds
but
remaining.
yeah, sometimes you're a little disconcerted about that Ancient Seal, and you might go
5
for
seconds
something a little bit
remaining.
different, the Slark or something. But OD is going to be your final pick, and
Radiant
that
team pick.
shows a very interesting lineup because Brewmaster, Razor, and OD are their cores. Among the three, Brewmaster is most prominent in the offlane,
Yeah.
but he's still not ideal against Avenge Rubik. So OD versus Puck is the matchup they want, and it looks like it might be one that they'll get.
Yeah, this is interesting. They're digging pretty deep here to have Jenkins go on something like the Brew. It's not something in his typical arsenal. I mean, given
10
that this could
seconds
be something
remaining.
he's used prominently during scrim play that we don't get to
5
see in the public
seconds
eye, but
remaining.
a very intriguing Outworld Devour final grab. Maybe anticipating a Medusa could have been the
Reserve
grab for
time.
Yawar, and now they'd have to think of other options. Morphling still there. Morphling picked up. So there it is. Yawar's got his precious Morphling. They could decide to throw him in the mid lane and really change things all up, but more than likely a safe lane matchup there. But
I would not want to be that Morphling, dude.
Yeah.
280 base movement speed, tiny T-Rex arms of an attack range, 350, and no mana to speak of. Yeah, that would be a hard time. It's still going to be difficult no matter who you put there. But yeah, I actually, if Leviathan can pull off the off lane or the aggro try, as it could possibly be, I think they're going to be having a really good laning stage.
Look at this, Leviathan doing what they did previously and what they used to do all the time back through Summit 2. They were the team to just always smoke and go on the aggressive. Back to their roots now. They want an early first blood. There's no real jungle potential unless it's going to be an Axe jungle. They're out for blood. They want to get a nice head start in the game like they did previously. This time Yawar's not going to be caught off alone. Trouf is leading out the charge on the bottom lane with his Rubik. And hey, how you doing, Rubik? There's going to be the clap. An early static link, lots of damage. This is going to be a death Rubik. Boom! Shredder is going to be getting your first blood. Leviathan do what they did previously and walk away with the early nod on the board. And with that, they drop their ward and they walk away, wiping their hands clean of any residual Trouf blood. And with that, I'll just finish out your introductions here. Shibby is going to be playing what looks like the mid lane Outward Devour. We got Flying Zebra back on his Earthshaker. Shredder is going to be playing the Razor as he heads towards the north in the top safe lane. Jenkins more than likely going to be playing your off-lane Brewmaster here, already getting that clap, of course. And, of course, that leaves Nusham playing on your Skywrath Mage. In the previous game, he got 6 early kills. Let's see if he can get 7.
Definitely, and it's just really surprising to see them in that position at that time. They're actually not only going to get the first blood, but a double bounty rune is really going to favor them. The one thing you got to mention is the movement speed. I mean, they have 2 heroes with boots first, the Razor and the Brewmaster. And, of course, every single one of their heroes is 310 MS or higher. Even the Earthshaker, he's the slow one, and he's actually been buffed quite a bit as far as his early movement. So, very surprising to have him in that position, but fool me twice. Shame on you. Fool me twice. We'll see. But anyways, MJW is going to be the mid laner. It means that Axe won't be able to cast spells, but Counter Helix will do the job for him.
He'll get the CS with the spins, but he's going to continue to get harassed pretty quickly. It does force Shibby to try to deal with the CS under the tower, which isn't always the easiest thing, but by now these players, they should have practiced it. They know exactly what the math where it counts. You see he gets one hit after the other. Bottom lane, early harassment comes out as Jenkins wants to assert his dominance against Uar. Just get the hell back. I'm going to smack you with my stick, but here comes Trout. Telekinesis throws him back towards the wave, and now the magic missile. Jenkins, you may have gone too far, buddy. He eats a tango, and he's like, I don't know what the hell to do. He gets right-click down, and Uar picks up a kill for himself. Oh, Jenkins, maybe not anticipating the support help nearby, and, well, he gets a bit overzealous.
Yeah, it's not as survivable as the alternative. So Brewmaster nerfed down to the 2 armor and the lesser slow on the Thunderclap. It's just not as easy to disengage. Infinity, on the other hand, he got Fissure blocked, taken almost all of his damage away from the cycling, and all he has to do is just Orbit Jaunt away. He has a hero that can survive under those circumstances. And yeah, in the meantime, Brewmaster, like, he's going to have a hard time just finding experience as a Equilibrium, as you are, is just known to do, is kept in a perfect position here. In the meantime, the mid lane is kind of changed up a little bit. MJW, every time he pushes out the wave with Counter Helix by intentionally aggroing them with a right click, he then immediately goes over to the medium camp. And so far, he's gotten pretty lucky, getting at least 3 camps for each spawn. Or, sorry, 3 creeps for the camp.
A lot of efficiency on the gold. Not really looking like he'll be able to get any sort of easy kill on the Shibby, just instead prioritizing getting an early burst of that farm and wealth so that he can blitz forward to getting the levels, getting his level 6, and maybe a Blink Dagger sooner than later. That's when he starts bringing in the kills, but certainly a much better matchup for them than what the other options could have been here for eHug, and they're just going to make do with that. But you're also allowing Shibby to get a good amount of CS himself. He's at 12-3, as he'll make do with what he's got, and he has all the range to work with right now as it's up on the high ground. Back below, though, they're making a go onto Jenkins. They harass him back and behind. Jenkins off lane has still only got 1 CS on his brew. He was involved in that first blood, but he needs a lot more as he's about level 3.5. And if you compare that to Infinity in the off lane now, 2, looking to get level 3. Oh, can he snag this? Oh, he can. That's a good little steal right there of the side pull camp. And he'll walk away.
Yep. So it's really hard to body block with a 65 MS deficit. Yawar went for the waveform play to try to block Jenkins after his telekinesis. That would have set up the magic missile and probably the kill. But instead, it's just going to be farming for them. So the wave is pushed out. Yawar is going to be most likely going for the Hand of Midas build, and the supports are going to be smoking.
Jenkins gets a lot of right-click damage in, and it's going to force him to pull out the salve. But mid lane, they're doing an engagement on the Shibby. Telekinesis is there. Ryuzha gets a good rotation, And with the Fade Bolt, Trout is going to finish that one off. eHug strike, a nice kill in the mid lane, putting themselves forward 2-1. Good rotation coming out from both supports. Jenkins sees that now and maybe could have anticipated a bigger engagement onto Yawar, but against a Morphling, it's never easy. Now that he's got level 3, almost level 4, waveforms at the ready, plus the Morph, it's not going to be an easy grab at any time. So now you're going to see supports, I imagine, constantly on the move here for eHug, trying to add pressure across the map.
Yep, and although Yawar will go for the Gloves of Haste here, it is in conjunction with the Boots of Speed, so either just feels a lot better 1v1 when he has that movement speed a little closer to even, or he is actually going to be looking to just build up the power, tries to go for a less dependent build. I kind of feel like he's playing the needy little, I don't know, toddler, as far as like the babysitters have to be right behind him, constantly supporting him, constantly allowing him to build up that farm so that he can be relevant in the game with the Hand of Midas.
MJW is going to be able to secure top bounty rune. Sees a player. Now he'll walk it right back towards the mid lane. And with that, just kind of goes back to square even here. 23 CS for him to OD's 22-6 after getting picked off. Nusham is going to be stuck on that babysitter duty. Just kind of watching out in case the rotations do come. We saw that Ryuza picked up a smoke as of recent. Starts heading towards the bottom lane and could look to rendezvous eventually here with Trout, who's working with some mud golems here in the meantime. For right now, eHug are just looking to go at their own tempo. Infinity, about to reach level 5 on his puck, has managed to get 12 in 1 CS. Pretty successful off-lane puck, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, not bad at all. I mean, the supports have been involved elsewhere. Flying Zebra teleporting to try to help out the OD, and obviously Nusham's making his rotations. So in that scenario, Puck is able to not only survive, but thrive and find some good momentum for himself. On the other hand, obviously we've seen Jenkins go down once, and although now he's building up some experience as well as acquiring 12 CS, he's also very commonly exposed. This may actually lend an advantage if they can bait in aggressive stance from the Avenge and the Morphling, as it looks like that's going to happen now.
Nusham is still nearby, scouts out Ryuza, pops him with an Arcane Bolt, but Trout is now looking to get involved, and they have the advantage in numbers. They want to, well, maybe they wanted to take down Jenkins before he reached that level 6, but he's got it now, so the split will be at the ready. It's not going to be an easy Panda takedown, especially when they don't have the silence. So with that, the supports kind of split off, and maybe they look to make another engagement onto Shibby here in the mid lane. Meanwhile, stopping off for that 6-minute rune. No, it's actually going to be claimed here by Nusham. Nusham scouts out the regen, and he's going to hand it over to Jenkins, who will use up his bottle and take it for himself. So that's double runes right now for Leviathan.
Yeah. Right before it expires, I want to point out here real quick, in the Radiant Jungle, there is a Dire Observer Ward that has been giving some good intel. It didn't detect the smoke route that happened towards the mid lane a couple minutes back, but overall it gives good understanding of the support's movements, and it has kept OD safe since. He's going to be able to overwhelm the laning phase against the Axe in general. He's going to make it so that he's a 13-mana boy, and Chibi, he's getting the more consistent CS from this point forward. Now, the last hits will be played in favor of Axe because he does go for the jungle a little bit, but those are lower gold density than lane creeps, and it means he has a lesser net worth value.
Jenkins clearing out a few more CS with the clap there. And still getting aided by the nearby support Nusham here. Feeling pretty comfortable. Still ways out if he wanted to bull rush forward to getting a Blink Dagger. But look at this. They see MJW doing this stack, and he's got good position to walk on back and away. And they're like, no, my stack. My stack now. We take what we can. Meanwhile, mid lane, Devour is able to take down Vengeful Spirit support. Maybe they were trying to go for their own rotation, and Flying Zebra was there on the Earthshaker to kind of slow their roll with that fissure setup. But regardless, it's Leviathan are going to be able to even things up. Plus, they're getting this stack taken away from the Axe. So looking pretty good here for them to even things right back.
Yeah, not too bad at all. And the Avenge was actually playing it very aggressively there. He's only level 3. He's a poor man, so it's going to be hard for him to feel confident. But he goes out into the river. They go for the Imprisonment. They go for the Fissure. And Urshik actually gets a nice little refuel here. By going next to the OD, who has 3 points in an Essence Aura, he just uses the low 20 mana cost Enchant Totem, and he actually gets a proc. So that allows him to fuel up a little bit, and the Clarity will do the rest.
And he uses that boost to head towards the top lane. It looks like towards Infinity, who's getting really close to that level 6. Already holding onto a TP scroll, maybe looking to get that level 6, which he does now. And put that TP to use elsewhere, but Shredder's like, nope, it's going to force out a defensive coil. And Infinity will have to step back and away and use that TP to go back home to heal on up. So with that, you see also Jenkins scouting out potentially this mid lane for an engagement with the split. No opportunity is going to present itself, so Jenkins will waltz his way back towards the bottom. 2-2 your score. 8 minutes in. A bit more of that slow-paced start we've been seeing as Yawar was able to throw together his Midas at about 7 minutes, 30 seconds time. Already puts it to one use and is trying to slowly build it up, but they say a Midas is at its weakest right after you purchase it here. So maybe Leviathan look to pressure here on the bottom lane.
I would say that Midas is probably out because right before you're about to buy the recipe, you're like at that gold threshold, and then you get killed off just beforehand, and you're like, oh, why did I go Midas? So much time wasted. But
yeah, I guess technically that would be the worst. Oh, claps there, you are. The wave forms to the other side. Jenkins, okay, does force out double rotations. He still has the split. Might have to use it defensively here. He eats a lot of damage, and the last little pot shot from the tower will force him back and away to heal on up. And Trouf is going to be committing now to this bottom lane get up. He is level 5. Probably needs a bit of that solo farm time while Yawar heads back to the base to get himself to level 6.
Yeah. So Midas is actually going to go unused for a while here. He slowly meanders back towards the fountain, and we'll probably TP back to the lane to finally actually get to use the transmute there. But the Axe Blink Dagger is actually huge. This time around, we see the Axe getting the Blink Dagger before the Brewmaster, and this allows him to be the initiator, him to make the play happen. We already see the smoke come out. The bench canceled his TP. Ryuzo wants to go with the Axe to try to make the play happen up top, and Infinity should be able to contribute enough damage to make that happen. Flying Zebra, though, the Fisher, be able
there
to
it is. Yep, Coil sets the stage. MJW jumps on in, breaks dances a bit with a couple of helixes and gets the swift kill there, taking down the flimsy little Shredder. And with that, it looks like Jenkins was also taken down at the same moment down in the bottom bounty area, the rune spot. So it's going to be 2 across the whole map there for eHug. And it could be more. They make it go into Newsham and they get that one as well.
And a buyback. Whoa!
Oh,
was that
boy.
intentional?
I don't know.
That was absolutely not intended. He uses Magic Stick as soon as he respawned. Maybe it was like hitting buttons, but there must have been a hotkey thing or a click thing. I'm not too sure, but he's as confused as we are. Wow. Could you imagine hands off the keyboard if it actually did that? That would be... Ghosts are buying back for you, saying, "Get revenge." The rage is welling within the computer.
Well, unfortunately, we don't. What a game Dota 2 is indeed sometimes, whether it's the Year Beast or what have you, and the new pathing setup. Sometimes things happen, unfortunately, and Newsham is going to be that much broker, unfortunately, because of the
no refunds.
mishap. Yeah, so with that, nothing we can do about it, and he'll just try to press on at this point. Maybe it's a mind game play. Maybe he's going to try to immediately make some sort of engagement happen here bottom, but he's not going to have it. Trouf's already on the way out, and he's stuck flying around looking for an opportunity.
I don't know a Dota game that was won or lost by 300 gold in the Skywrath Mage, but you know, it's frustrating, maybe a little bit. Anyways, Force Staff is up for the Outward Devourer. Maybe a good way to respond to the Axe if he does get the blink taunt on somebody else. But in general, it's going to be hard to get away. I mean, the coil's there, later the Nether Swap, like. It is tough stuff, and yeah, we're just going to be seeing the overall movement from eHug. We do have Trouf actually stealing the OD's imprisonment, so that could be pretty nice. The problem is, it is a 160 mana spell that although it will give him temporary intelligence, he has 0% chance to proc that Essence Aura. So he doesn't have the ability to spam it out the way Chibi does.
Yeah, making it go on top. Ryuza gets silenced, slowed with a concussive shot. Infinity, though, shows up and makes the go on to Newsham. And, well, Newsham's going to go down, plus the follow-through from MJW, rather. Gets a nice blink in. Swap back, puts Shredder closer to the tower. He has nowhere to go. And he will be taken apart. Yawar shows up just in time to waveform on through into Victory Land and secures himself another kill, putting himself onto a killing spree. eHug off to a nice head start in the laning phase. Now 7-2. Should be looking to just try to get some pot shots in on the tower. Trouf is happy to quickly use that imprisonment after showing up from the fountain. Is not going to cost him a whole lot of mana, rather. So with that, he steals some intel, and we'll keep him away.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
We'll see some really good farm going the way of Yawar on the Morphling here. I mean, he's pushing up on the top lane. Aquila on, waveform available. It's going to take some multiple heroes to rotate to actually keep this tower up. They'll force to fortify for now, Fisher probably, but with the Replicant as a security blanket, he can actually just continue to push, and all they can hope for is to deny.
Yep, Yawar One for his Morphling. Fissure actually sapping up some nice damage here as Shredder. But of course, with that replicate, Yawar is able to head down to the river at this point and make himself disappear. And same goes for MJW, heads into the trees and will TP towards the mid lane. After Leviathan commit a lot towards the top, they want to make an engagement happen here in the mid. Ooh, should be so close to the oncoming danger, but he will put himself into a safe position behind that tower. Pressure continues to mount here. eHug feeling pretty dominant here. It's an early look at the graph, but it's slowly going back in the favor of eHug. And mind you, Leviathan were the ones to have the head start here with that early first blood.
And the bounties, too.
Yeah, and both bounties. 2 different times they picked up both the runes, but eHug are coming right back.
So, yeah, we're going to be seeing the Puck Blink Dagger come through. Jenkins on the Brewmaster has one as well. But I think the biggest issue right now is Shredder's durability. He's got Bracer Treads, that's okay. But for a one-position Razor, you expect a little bit more. And it's actually very possible he'll just be picked off time and time again, as we've already seen with a few rotations here. Mechanism is not going to be built up this game, it would seem. And that is going to be another limiting factor for his effective HP. He's just going to be holding out drums, Aquila, treads, good overall stat items, but not anything that'll guarantee his life. Meanwhile, on bottom, they connect with the jump, and Puck just can't respond.
Yep, easily set up right there from the long-range fissure. Just means the quick blink in and the burst. Fairy cannot hold a candle to that much damage and will be decimated. So, quick pick right there for Leviathan. They certainly needed, whether it be the questionable buyback and then the pickoffs in the top lane, getting a notch on the kill column for them, certainly a booster. So with that, they'll go back, look to return to their farm. Flying Zebra now scouting out behind Shibby here. They're looking for this OD to look to step his game up. They drop the sentry, clear out a sentry on the other side. Charles going to be taking the pulse for himself.
Nice.
One
of the better skills right now. With that being maxed out at this stage of the game, that damage is actually very relevant for counter pushing and making sure that Leviathan can't clean up objectives easily. Got enough range on it, it'll just deter the push, and that's going to be sweet for them. Unfortunately, their Sentry Ward wars aren't going so well. The Sentry Ward in mid is able to take care of an Observer Ward on the high ground from Radiant, and up in the top lane, they just put out a Sentry knowing there was some wards up, and it's been standing for the past couple of minutes. So Yawar not as confident, but at least he knows what he's up against as he TP's down bottom.
Yeah, Leviathan prioritizing a lot of the vision here around the mid lane, maybe anticipating that support movement as they have a ward nearby in both just the quick top and bottom portion. And, well, it does leave him in the dark on both side lanes. We'll see as we're going to have a bit of a pause here. Jenkins apparently needs a second to really analyze what's going on. He's about to come across a nice little DD rune here at the bottom, which he has an empty bottle waiting to pick it on up. And just nearby, on the side of eHug, you have Ryuza and Infinity side by side, working with a small camp and an MJW there as well. And it looks like he's throwing together his Blade Mail. He's just one component away, actually not that far off whatsoever. But here we go, back underway. DD's going to be snagged up here from Jenkins. And we'll see if Leviathan look to make a go here. Blink and Split is both ready. They'll scout from above here. Infinity could be in trouble if there is follow-up.
So for now, it's just kind of a passive position, but double damage, obviously the Blink crit does a lot of work here. The one aspect of Subterfuge that won't come in, oh my goodness, getting the imprisonment, and eHug has to respond to this.
There we go, big orb, pure damage. They drop down the ultimate and they get it done. Ryuza's also going to be going down. And it's a quick 2-man drop. Both supports hit the deck. Leviathan now turn their attention towards the Tier 1 tower. Lift is going to try to slow them down a bit. Yawar's just going to take this time to just continue to farm up on his Morphling here in the side lane. He's managed to throw together 2.2k. And he grabs himself a TP and will continue to make that farm happen. And eHug just not too, they don't really care too much to make the defense. They accept the fact that this Tier 1 is going to drop, and they just would rather find secure farm on the other sides.
Dire's bottom tower.
There it is. It's going to be grabbed up. Jenkins is going to get the last hit. He gets a nice little boost and buys himself some new shoes.
Yeah, that's pretty nice for him. Obviously, just kind of trailing behind. Now at least he has some more stats to play around with. He's able to actually toggle to int and spam out more than just the one clap and split. And we'll have to see the progression for the Morphling, actually. Yawar has been farming immensely now, top of the net worth. But a couple items that he needs to consider. Obviously, E-Blade is pretty core for Morphling in general. And the BKB is necessary against the OD and the Brewmaster, as well as the Skywrath for that matter. Like, I guess you could look at the Skywrath and say, Manta style, but you don't have that option against OD and Brew. So the BKB will come, but we'll see if it's going to be the first item to pick up as he replicates to safety with the Shibby engage.
I really like that he's been using the replicate on that axe, and he farms up the ancient stack with that replica, getting that extra bit of gold. Top lane, though, they're going to go into Jenkins. There's a silent, and he's not going to be using the split or committing the split. He's just too far away from his allies, and it's just going to be a quick pick right there for eHug. Beautifully set up from Infinity with that coil drop. There's really not a whole lot your Jenkins Panda can do about it. Ryuzaw with that momentum has the smoke popped, and he's scouting out for anyone nearby on the Leviathan side, maybe farming the big camp, but no one's going to be there.
Radiant's bottom tower.
And it's
is
actually a
under
really good
attack.
point about the replicant on the axe. The replicant takes 100% damage, so that means that it's a full axe HP bar, and it's essentially an axe tanking those ancients. And the counter helix still does full damage as well. So although it's not auto attacking as hard, it is about as efficient as axe can be in jungling, and that's just going to be
Is under attack.
money in the Morphling's pocket. Rubik on the bottom lane will be finished off by the Skywrath Mage. Nusham dropping pretty low, and the Wave of Terror going to set up the swap.
Yep, swap, stun. They're able to finish off Nusham. He goes down. It's the one support grab as they rotate from top to bottom. Meanwhile, Leviathan maybe looking to make the jump onto Infinity. Here comes the Invis. Shibby, does he scout him?
Oh!
Come on, no, imprisonment! Oh, gets it last
my
second. My
gosh.
God, that was close. But it's a puck after all, but with no mana, he's just going to have one last shift. Bop, bop, boop. And Shibby's going to get the kill. That was a little too close for comfort right there, but Infinity will be taken down, and it's going to be a drop from both sides there. A 2-for-1 trade all day at the end of it. And 9-7, your new score here. Advantage for eHug.
Yeah, so at this stage in the game, I mean, you gotta look at Leviathan's potential team fight, and you gotta say that they can bring more to the table, but I have to say eHug also have been moving a lot more effectively over the past couple of minutes. Like, the fact that the more Yuar's been able to rotate really well, find the fights, and make things happen has been really encouraging, and he actually goes for the Yasha here. It could be potentially a casual Yasha before going for the BKB, or it could be the Manta style, and in this sense, the Manta style will dispel the Drunken Haze, and it will also dispel the silence from the Skywrath, the Ancient Seal. So if he takes one of those two off, he can survive, but he's still going to take a lot of pure damage when it comes to that Arcane Orb.
So we're seeing now as Leviathan will go hand in hand to farm and push through this bottom lane. Maybe trying to get another tier 2 under their belt. They've only cleared out the middle one. Love to get a bit more of that gold that's out there on the map. Easy for the pickings right now. Because all the meanwhile, they have a ticking time bomb here, and Yuar and his Morphling, we've seen him bring games back from as much as a 14k deficit. So only being at a 500 plus seems like easy peasy for someone like Yuar. But we'll have to see here. As bottom lane, they'll be able to secure that tier 1 grab. eHug looking to go for a trade themselves. They have Yuar in the front with MJW waiting behind. We'll be able to waveform away from that fissure. MJW maybe looking for a fall through here. Oh, it's very timid play. Here comes Nusham. Long concussive shot should connect here onto Trout as he puts himself in the corner. Oh man, Trout, that's not going to be happening. They get the imprisonment, and it looks like Rubik will have to be the sacrifice here, and will be. Just a quick pulse smack to the face coming out from Jenkins with that crit. We'll take him out.
Yep, so, I mean, they do waste the Mystic Flare, but they get the kill, and they do also get the tower denied. This has not been denied just yet, but you better believe that's going to be the next thing on their list, and that's really unfortunate. Morphling definitely wanted that tower. That last hit would have put him to his next item, whatever it may be, the Eagle Song, so on and so forth. But, yeah, he's going to have to wait it out a little bit here, and obviously he wants to manage his reliable gold as efficiently as he can. He's got 1,600 reliable gold, so Yuar wants to keep track of that. In the meantime, any other big pickups? I mean, Axe might be going for the BKB again, but other than that, the puck working its way towards Yules is all you can say for eHug.
And with that, Leviathan parade themselves through the top lane. They want to make a go at the tier 1 tower. Here at the top to finish things off as far as the tier 1s go for the side of eHug. eHug maybe anticipating that. They already have Ryuzaw on the scene, and Trouf is coming in from his recent departure from the living world in that mid lane. So he's at the ready here. We'll see as far as what he's able to scout out. And MJW with his positioning thinks about going from the river, but maybe worried that they'll have the ward to scout it out, which they do have a ward on the side, but he wouldn't have been able to be seen. But there's the jump through. Jenkins trying to see.
Ooh, DDTP.
Steals a Drunken Haze. There's the jumping from MJW. Gets the call. Jenkins will be taken apart. No split can be happening. Swap back. They want Shibby, but BKB is going to be popped. Mystic Flare goes on forward, and he's not going to be TPing home. Yuar shows up, gets the kill there. Nusham's going to be flying right thereafter, and it's quickly a 3-man slaughter for eHug. They start charging down this top lane. Big rotations from them. They just predicted that Leviathan were going to be making the push there in the top lane, and they profit.
Oh, definitely. The rotation for Yoar was really nice. Just had used the double damage rune, so he was hitting for 300 a pop during that fight, and yeah, they were able to just pull them apart with a very nice axe call. So this is going to allow them to take the top tier 2 and start really just considering their overall map presence. They can actually just take control of this, get a couple of good aggressive wards up, like the one you see on the plateau already. They can get a couple more around this area, and at this point in time, Leviathan have to be a little bit concerned. I mean, this is match point. This is what they've been all fighting for, and it is going to be a hard road forward if they can't take another fight.
Yeah, this has been the biggest net worth boost of the game so far. Been pretty neck and neck up to this point, but with that eHug, we're able to put themselves quickly into about a 5k net worth advantage. They step back and continue to itemize that much further ahead. It doesn't look like really they're going to have much at this rate to contest with Yoar and his very powerful Morphling, who continues to just thrive. Yasha now on hand. BKB, shiny and new, full 10 seconds at the ready here. Leviathan maybe looking to do behind the back play here and go for the Roche.
Ooh.
Seems to be the case. Do they have the potential to get it done in quick fashion? It looks like there potentially was a ping already from the eHug side, but do they have a way to scout it out? They have the replicate onto Axe, and they're going to start charging it that way.
Yep, so we'll see if that is going to get there in time. The medallion on Skywrath makes it so that's much more rapid of a kill for them, and it actually is going to be the difference maker here. They're not going to be able to get it in time, and that is going to be Aegis going to the OD. So should be very confident right now to just kind of move in and bulldoze the opposition with that second life of the available, and with this Bruce split at level 11 and Vladimir's on top, they have to be feeling a lot better about their engagement. They just have to make sure the puck doesn't just tear them apart with initiation. If the puck jumps in, Infinity gets the perfect Dream Coil Wing Rift, if the Axe Call follows that, it's still going to be disastrous for Leviathan, but now they have a bit of a safety net with this Aegis.
I gotta say, eHug, since they planted this very aggressive ward early on, they have an idea as far as Leviathan and what their movement will be here. As they go back to farm, they could always go on their own little renegade adventure. They know that no one's nearby, so they make the jump. Oh, the swap is actually going to be onto MJW. That's a misclick, unfortunately. They do manage to get the Shredder BKB popped, but that is exactly not what they wanted to do. So with that, and that small flub, unfortunately, they immediately pull back.
That was a failfish moment there. Disastrous play from Ryuzo. Just a bit of a mistake there, a bit of miscommunication. MJW was right under him saying, I'm going to taunt. Maybe he wasn't even saying it, maybe just implying it with his presence, and that's where it fell apart. But in the end, they both, one meant to taunt him, one meant to another swap him, and in the end, they just break down their initiation and only get a free BKB charge, which in of itself isn't the end of the world, but it's not what they came for. Anyways, the Earthshaker is actually farming really nicely. Like, you were talking about how Yoar is doing really well in the net worth, but I have to say that the supports for Leviathan are really getting up there. The Flying Zebra getting the Blink Dagger is going to be amazing for him to actually contribute wide arrays of magical damage output to the team fight.
He's close, but he still needs 200 gold. This tower has it for him if they can get it down. But at that same moment, you have eHug here pressuring the bottom lane. There's going to be one baited TP out from Zebra. Ryuza gets the swap, but here comes two TPs. The Fissure not going to be taken into Enchant Totem, unfortunately for Trout. BKB going to be popped now. eHug maybe look to disperse as Jenkins is going to pop the split. They head to the high ground and the low ground to get away. Ryuza is going to TP on out. Infinity waiting, still holding in reserve his TP for now. So, there's the jump in. Tries to go on Zebra, gets it with the last auto connect. And now Infinity makes his quick escape. Very nice swift play from him.
Yeah, that's actually pretty insane, bringing down a target and under those circumstances, under that much pressure. But a really big thing is that the Jenkins split went completely wasted. Like, it didn't get anything, didn't interrupt any TPs. They were all in the fog of war and just narrowly escaped. So in the end, that is a wasted split. At least they don't have to worry about like an objective being taken under their nose while it's on cooldown. The tier 2s aren't going to be pressured anytime soon, and the Roche obviously is down for the count. So in this position, it's not the worst thing, but it will halt their affirmative action. In the meantime, Yoar still sitting on his 10 BKB if he needs it, but he's happy to just keep split pushing and playing that Rat Dota game.
Yeah, I mean, 4.2k. He's a regular Scrooge McDuck right here with his Morphling as he just continues to build up his investment and really thrive here. Finding those opportunities, and the rest of his team just look to continue to create the space. They're even taking away and working with the Leviathan jungle for now. Leviathan now have to wait, as they've already committed the split. A couple of extra BKBs. Now already down to 8 seconds here for Shibby and his BKB get up. And they're the ones with the Aegis. They're the ones that are supposed to try to create the pace and create the tempo. But for any time they make a push happen, look, eHug seem to be one step ahead at this point. So with that, maybe they go towards the bottom and pressure the tier 2. But at that same moment, eHug, they don't care about you and your Aegis. They're making a push towards the tier 1, or tier 3 rather, in the top lane. Oh, swap back. This time it does connect on the Shredder, but they don't have a follow-up, and Ryuza swaps himself into death. Yeah, he's dead.
Not much to be said about that. They just flub initiation, and they can't do much more than force another BKB charge, which, again, is okay. Shredder doesn't want to be dropping out of 5 seconds anytime soon, especially since the E-Blade is probably the next item pickup for Morphlin. Let's check the Courier. Nope, it's going to be the Scotty, and this is actually a really interesting build. Yasha's Scotty is actually really effective as far as efficiency of building up your potential item progression. Heroes like the stat-dependent heroes. You can see this on a Medusa, a Morphling, even in some circumstances you can see it on Mirana or Rikimaru. If you want to really make your right clicks matter as a ranged hero, but you also rely on stats a lot, this is the way to go, the Yasha into Scotty. But of course he had to segue into the BKB because he's up against OD Brew. And the trade-off, though, like when you go for this opener where you go like BKB into Scotty, you look at that and you're like, half the item's defensive, half the item, the items that Yawar has means he doesn't do any damage. But honestly, if he goes for a full Agimorph on top of these 2 defensive pickups, he can balance it out really nicely.
Ooh, Trout gets greedy going for a spell steal. Could be in trouble here, but Shivy overextends. He could be the one that stretched out too far. Jenkins fakes out the split, and they decide they don't want to adventure into the eHug territory with a lot of them missing from the map. So Trout will make it away with his little astral steal for now. But here we go as eHug look to converge. Blink forward from Infinity. And it looks just to be a little bit of a wave clear here. eHug feel very confident in stalling things out. Your Aegis has been expired, and now they feel that they are going to be the ones who are able to be more comfortable in taking a fight. In fact, they could look to pressure, and they're going to move right on through the Leviathan territory. And really, they don't feel much of a threat. If they make a big fight happen here, they can get a couple of tier 2s, maybe add some pressure to the high ground, then fall back, or a potential Roche. So force forward swap not going to be there. Now Leviathan have the idea of what's going on. That figure connects on 3. Follow through collapse is going to be big. Split as the BKB is going to be popped. Yawar goes to the low ground to try to get anyone on the back line. Meanwhile, they focus fire the supports on the side of eHug. Yawar begins the right click onto Shivy, but he replicates to the other side. There's going to be the Echo. It secures another grab as Infinity goes down. MJW. Yeah, Yawar says, I'm out of here. Goes to the top to farm. MJW should be able to get away. And Leviathan make the right call. Beautiful setup with that fissure, connecting on the 3 into the high ground. A bit of a, and I gotta say, that's 3 back-to-back awkward kind of starts there for your Vengeful Spirit, and this time it works out very nicely for Leviathan. Now they go down the mid lane here, and will begin to pressure this tier 2.
Yeah, and that's Shibby's Hex. With this tier 2 tower death, he's going to be able to get the Sheepstake up, and then we're going to be seeing a lot more pressure being put out against eHug, and a lot more pickoffs that potentially could put Leviathan back in the driver's seat in this game. For right now, I would still say it's eHug's advantage, and they overall have the better carry potential, but a couple of pickoffs here and there, obviously the more push and damage potential with your Razor's Aghanim's, I could see them bringing this back.
Dire's top tower
Gonna look back, maybe scout out the Roche, but they still got about 30 seconds before we even get to see the new clock ready to go. So eHug.
One question for you.
Yes.
Have we seen an OD Ultimate? I feel like I haven't seen that big flash, the awesome sound effect. I feel like all the fights have been so cut and dry that it hasn't actually come into play.
I've only seen it once, at least I can remember. It was in the mid lane, and I believe it was still a level 1 ultimate at the time, which helped secure, I believe, a takedown on the Vengeful Spirit, but
yeah.
Nothing really huge and elaborate outside of that. He's trying to get involved, but he obviously only has the 4 staff to work with. But at that point, even like in the previous engagement, Yawar immediately went to the back lines to get a hold of him, and he can't really get in there to get a hold of the 3 that were locked down. So I feel like maybe could be a mobility issue, or he just kind of ends up with his hands full. The opportunity just overall, yeah, I agree, hasn't really presented itself for Shibby.
And I think a couple of the fights, I mean, we've only gotten like 12 kills on their side in total, and
Yeah.
I feel like at least 2 of those fights were like guaranteed wins. They like got an easy 3-0 or something along those lines, not heavily contested, and I don't know if the extra ulti would have changed too much, but he's been building it up quite a bit. If you look at his intelligence, he's been actually acquiring a lot there. He's already rocking about 125 int. That's with the treads off, and that's with no Astral Imprisonment stacks. So the only one that can really withstand that is the Puck and the
Oh, a battle on the pedestal up here for the ward. MJW is going to get split between 3 bears, has to go into the Roche pit, and on the other side, Shredder shows up, gets the leech onto Yawar, and now Ryuza is going to be the one to get punished. He goes down, and Leviathan sweep on through. Now coming in, the flank play, Infinity jumps on forward, gets the coil to connect on the Shredder on the low front, and there's going to be the adaptive strike. They're going to focus fire this Razor. There's the Echo, followed through from Flying Zebra. Yawar is going to be bullied back as it is, and on the other side, MJW is going to be assaulted from Leviathan. The stolen Echo going to be used from Trout, but it's not going to be enough to secure the extra damage to go down on eHug. There's going to be the kill as Yawar is able to clean out Shibby. And now he's going to have very low life, walking away. Nushim going toe-to-toe, takes down the Puck, loses his own life. Double kill for Nushim before he drops. And that is a 4-for-2 trade when it's all said and done. Advantage for Leviathan there. The gold swing going to be only about 1,300 gold to their favor. Obviously not going to be able to follow it up with anything profitable. You know, maybe ideally a Roche would have been the best case scenario, but they have to walk back and get healed on up.
Yeah, originally I actually thought that Leviathan were going to be destroyed in that fight because they started it off by using the Primal Split into the trees. The bears got caged a little bit when the Axe forced out of that situation, and then the BKB was just cooling down on the Razor. He didn't get anything but, I think, a Venge kill out of that BKB. So I thought, okay, all these cooldowns are gone. They don't really have that much, but Leviathan split that fight up very nicely, and they just barely juggle enough damage between all the different sources that they all walk away with about 10% HP. So very close call, but in the end, the fact that the Razor was able to stay on top of the Morphling, drain all his damage, a lot of his health, he didn't have the right click and he didn't have the mana to accomplish what he wanted.
They're going for Roche. Here comes another replicate. It's the Vengeful Spirit. They got to know that that's not the real Vengeful. She was probably waved. He's going to sap up for the free damage while he can, but he put himself into a bad spot. MJW jumps in and takes care of him immediately. Oh, man. Bad choice right there for Leviathan. eHug now going to capitalize on the situation. Infinity got to get right-click potentially here. Oh, gets saved. Last minute shift going to be good. Trout now under pressure. BKB going to be popped from Shibby. He takes care of that. Yawar goes on an assault. Takes care of Skywrath Mage. Turns his sight to Shibby, and he just gets absolutely slaughtered. eHug on the comeback. Yawar with a triple kill. Beautiful play coming out from eHug there to make the initiation questionable from Leviathan. Maybe it wasn't the right time. It looked like Shredder was hoping for some free damage. That cost him.
Going, smoking up.
Here they come back. Buyback there for Shibby. Shredder moves forward, pops his BKB, starts sapping out the damage from MJW, wants to use that damage to go right back onto him. But meanwhile, Yawar gets the cleanup, taking down Flying Zebra. Now he puts his sights on the Shredder, and you can see the difference in the farm and the potential. A chop comes through from MJW as he cleans out the dieback from Shredder, mind you. They are able to take down MJW. That means the gem's going to be on the deck. Now here comes Jenkins moving on in. There's going to be the clap. Oh, the big drop from Shibby. The hammer's going to be there, and Yawar still alive, waltzes away, very low life. Ryuza somehow still going to be able to walk away, very wounded. Shibby's trying to get a hold of anyone. He can't get a hold of anyone. Goes up to the high ground, says, I got to get the hell out of here. So many wounded eHug members, but there it is. Eventually, Vengeful will just, well, deny himself to a neutral. So, still very profitable here for eHug. They go right back into the pit once more. That was Leviathan buying back in hopes of putting up a strong defense, and it still falls short.
Yeah, I don't. Chico's blinked onto the cliff with nearly full HP. There wasn't able to contribute anything to the tail in that fight. They should have gotten 1 or 2 more kills, but instead, he's going to be the one to beat his life away. The Aegis goes to Morphling, who was already damn tanky. Earthshaker will get a nice fish for that, kills off the Puck. Infinity been running around with no HP to speak of for far too long, he says, but nevertheless, I gotta say, eHug are just so happy that Roche ends in their hands, and all the buybacks that were forced. That was buyback city coming in from Leviathan. We've got OD, Brewmaster, and Razor, all 3 cores buying back and then not accomplishing the objective to take the Roshan away from the Morphin. That is brutal, and it just seems to be that they weren't all where they needed to be at the time they needed to be. They were kind of marching in one by one. They were daisy chaining out to try to make something happen, but although they had a decent initiation with 3 men, they weren't able to get the full collaborative effort they needed.
I mean, I'll be honest, just for Leviathan, that felt like a hot mess by the Roche pit. It seemed just all over the place, and Yawar was just happy to just get the easy, stable right-click damage in to clear out one support after the other, and then another sweet kill. MJW certainly helped out getting that set up for him, and Yawar's the one to profit the most out of it. He is now beyond freaking godlike. They haven't even been able to take down this freaking Morphling yet, Blaze. He's 12-0-4. So with that, he's got 4.3k and Aegis on hand, and Scotty. It's just out of control right now. So he'll move forward, clean out a tier 2, gets that gold as well. Oh, this is, what do? You see this guy, it's a raid boss now.
And the Vengeance Axe are helping him a ton. He still gets to move around with the Replicant of the Axe. The Vengeful Spirit's aura is actually really good for him playing around with so many base stats. Oh my gosh, his agility count is just absurd. And he's going to go for a hard right-click item next. Looking at the Courier, yeah, it's the Butterfly. The components have been purchased, the Eagle Song's next, and from there, Butterfly is up. Now, it was called into question a little because the Hex is up on Shibi, but overall, it's still probably the best item for him. If he goes Scotty Satanic, Butterfly, BKB, Manta, BOTs, and Satanic, he just can't be stopped.
No, this is going to be a real tough defense here for Leviathan. As far as what their options are, the effectiveness of Shibi and his OD doesn't seem to be as potent as it once was at this point in the game. Certainly your support staff, Earthshaker, Skywrath Mage, it's going to take a lot to really break through the tough Morphling watery skin, if you will, and I don't know, this is I don't know, I'm flabbergasted. Look at this, Yawar's going to do what the hell he wants. Grant says it best. This kid is a savage with this play. Maybe Jenkins should have considered his own advice. You don't give Yawar Morphling. When you do, stuff like this happens. I mean, move over. I'm trying to think. Myth Trust. It's Lakel's. Move over, Lakel's. Yeah. It's Yawar, the new Morphling in town. It's absolutely out of control. So they do the slow siege game here. They have the Aegis, so they feel absolutely comfortable. The tier 3 is going to be taken down, and unfortunately for Leviathan, they're looking at the last life of their tournament here. It's just looking like eHug are going to be able to seal the deal. They make the go. Jenkins immediately telekinesis. Well, Trout is just right on it. Fall through Zebra, Echo Slam, everything they can at this point. BKB's already popped. Hell breaks out. Shibi goes down. Next is going to be Shredder, and it looks like it might be a flawless victory right now for Yawar and his Morphling, because with this clear, I would not be surprised if Leviathan throw in the towel.
This is just too much. Yawar is just too huge. They can kill him once, but twice is impossible. The second life brings him back with full agility. Doesn't even have to worry about his health pool, his defensive strength bar. He gets all the damage he could desire, and he goes in for the mid lane, actually waving, just clearing things out, looking for the tier 4s to end the game.
He is just so good. I don't mean to really be on the Yawar high horse, but maybe just like his brother, eventually one of these teams are going to nab up this raw talent, and you're going to see him really flourish. And with that, he flourishes through the Leviathan base, making that home his. Boom! Bang! See you later, buddy. Just a quick kill for them.
This is a non-E-Blade build, by the way. We see so many traditional Morphlings go, okay, I just want to kill supports, I just want to shotgun combo, bing, bang, boom. You get kills, and that's how you farm. He just farms the lanes. He knows, like, okay, we're losing a fight, I'll replicate top. I'll get all the CS in the world, a 28,000 net worth Morphling. He's got a 13,000 net worth, that's almost double the OD. Oh, such an advantage in how much he's farmed, and he turns it into just his raw right-click potential with this full-on offensive
split
build.
Even stolen here from Trout. He uses it. He's like, I got some bans for you, as he moves in and helps clean out Jenkins. And it looks like the Leviathan boys are going to be done here for the Fallout Majors, but for eHug, they'll be moving on to the finals to potentially face what looks like Team Fire. Good game, well played indeed from both of these squads, as we have two full 3-game best of 3s. Couldn't have asked for anything better as far as semifinal action, but props to Leviathan. They made it this far, but it's going to be eHug who move on.
Tough loss for Leviathan, of course, but eHug, they definitely earned this win. They earned it yesterday with the 2-0. They earned it today with the 2-1, and yeah, this has just been an impressive display from them, especially with this kind of standard Dota, this pub star play coming from Trout, Yawar, Ryuza. Now we get to see what they can do in that final, and who's going to be going. So I'm really looking forward to that matchup. But eHug, they really earned their bacon today. 15-0-7 on UR. It's 728 GPM. Not much more to say.
Yeah, just wonderful stuff. It's funny to see that the two teams that are going to be in the finals are two new, fresh teams that were kind of thrown together. eHug, yeah, they've been around for quite a while, but they've had a bit of roster changes here and there, and I'm sure they are very happy to have not just Truff, but especially Yawar on their roster for now. So hopefully with that roster, they can move on forward. Tomorrow, we're going to find out exactly what team is going to make it to that Malaysian LAN and a piece of that 100K prize pool. We got a lot of Dota action coming. And that action will begin tomorrow, the same time as today, which will be 3 p.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And that coverage will be right here on Beyond the Summit. Please do us a favor and show your support for all of us here at Beyond the Summit. Make sure you can hit that follow button. Subscribe if you feel extra generous. For us and us casters, you can show us some love on Twitter, myself at KotLGuy. Blaze, catch him over at BlazeCasting. Shoutouts to Cart Dota for volunteering and helping us out with some stat work. And, well, if you missed out on any of the action, you can catch the VODs over on Beyond the Summit's YouTube channel. I am uploading those right after the games conclude. And with that, we're all done here. Any last words, Blaze? Are you ready to wrap things up? I guess he's done.
This was a really, really great day of Dota. 6 awesome games in a row. Really glad to be a part of it. And can't wait to see how this one ends.
Great. Let's do it. So tomorrow we'll be back. More Dota action. Thanks for coming by, folks. We'll catch you next time.